Welcome to Psychic Holistic Spotlight. I'm your host, Josie Way, and tonight co-hosting with me is Kathy Medeiros and Ken Demers. And as promised, we have Karen Paolino, Coria, back to tell us more because she does so much, we can't fit her in one show. Karen had a lot of questions she kept asking her soul and that she wanted answered. And eventually Spirit got together, and she'll tell you about it, and gave her the answers and a system for us to contact our own souls, to be facilitated in contacting our souls. And it's called soul entrainment.
Yes. Which means aligning with your soul.
Yes. How did it start?
So I went through a surprise diagnosis of thyroid cancer 21 years ago. And so I was really very much immersed in my type A personality and working all the time. And my kids were young, they were 4 and 1. And so I had a lot of questions after going through my cancer and recovering from the cancer. Like, why am I here? What is my purpose? If life's short, what do I still have to do? What am I supposed to do? And so I started to read a lot of books about the soul because, I'd taken yoga and had started some very much immersed in meditation and really had some questions about my soul. If my soul is here on a journey, what is my journey about? So I read a lot of books and meditate some more. But one of the things I kept doing was I would walk to the park every day and I'd ask, I'd say a prayer out loud or to myself. And I was very much connected to my angels at that point. And I just kept saying, I want to see into my soul. And I'd be hearing myself ask that question, saying, why do I say this every single day? I want to see into my soul. Like I pray every day, I want to see into my soul. And then somebody would walk by me and I'm like, I want to see into their soul too. I want to have that ability to see into their soul. So I would ask day after day after day. And then one day in meditation, it was like I was just in my regular journey in meditation and I heard that inner voice or that outer voice that said, are you ready to see into the soul today? And it was like, like popped up saying, oh my God, finally, yes, I'm ready. And what happened was I saw the image of a star and I heard clearly that this star is the energy of your soul. Bring the star, the energy of your soul, into your heart and let it expand. And so I did that and I felt a tremendous amount of peace and comfort and light. And so I do that day after day. I would go through that same thing. If that was going to help me see into the soul, I kept doing it over and over. And then when I would sit in that light, in that peace, in that energy, I'd start asking questions like, what am I here? What's my next step? And I'd have a pen and a journal and a pen and I'd write down. And some wise, loving, supportive answers started to come through. So then what happened was, after I started to get some really cool answers and guidance, I was facilitating a meditation group, so I do the same process for them. I'd say, visualize the star, it's the energy of your soul outside of you, and bring it in. I guided them in meditation to merge with their soul, and then they would get wisdom, guidance, and answers. I'm like, well, this is really cool. So then I decided I was going to take it to the next step, and I had a massage table at the time, and I asked friends or spiritual friends, do you want to do a one-on-one and see what happens when you connect with your soul? And we'll form some questions beforehand, and I'll ask you questions when you're connected to your soul, and let's see if the answers come through. So we started doing that, and amazing things were happening. The soul was trying to show them what was blocking them, and they would talk to me out loud during it. I'd ask a question, they'd get an answer from their soul. I'd ask a question, they would get another response. So in this dialogue, they were getting answers, healing, awareness, and they come out and they're like, oh my God, what just happened? So somebody said to me, after I experimented with this multiple times, they said, Karen, you're pretty much doing hypnosis. Why don't you get certified in hypnosis and work under the umbrella of hypnosis? And so I did. I ended up going to get certified in hypnosis, and what was great is it gave me more tools to help people connect deeper.
I was going to say deeper.
Yeah, to help them go deeper into the process, but also tools to work through the healing that would come up. There's a lot of inner child healing that comes up, or past life regression sometimes happens in soul
That's
sessions.
my question. When you're talking to the soul, are you talking to, I don't know what you'd call it, the central soul of each of us, or were you talking to the individual pieces of the soul that were in each lifetime?
I believe both happens. I believe that their soul, their oversoul,
Okay, nice term.
okay, their oversoul helps them connect to their different lifetimes, or this lifetime's their past. And then sometimes they're with even the higher consciousness, the God self, or the wholeness of existence, and they're talking to that wisdom and guidance. But what I've discovered over 20 years now is your soul knows everything about you, past, present, and future. Your soul will always guide you to your highest and greatest good. Your soul will never give you anything you're not ready for. So some of the questions I ask in a soul session, let's say, it's great, soul sessions are great when people say, I'm stuck, I can't get out of this pattern, why am I experiencing this in my relationships, how do I heal this, why am I so afraid? And, we can ask the soul, and the soul will, I have usually asked to go to the root cause, because if you can heal the root cause, then it ripples through consciousness, your past and your present, so you can change in the future.
It's kind of simultaneous as far as the soul is concerned.
Yes, absolutely.
Is there soul retrieval during this process as well?
Yes, I believe that there's parts of yourself that need to be retrieved and brought back to the wholeness of the soul. Yes.
Is it like an injury or a past hurt that comes?
Yes.
The current one?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's what's so beautiful, and I believe this is some of the most powerful work that I can do, is that with people, because they do the work. I guide them. I am one with their soul during the process, so their soul will use my abilities to support them, but they ultimately do the work. But they can come to a pure wholeness of who they are.
Right.
So yes, they retrieve parts of themselves that may be wounded from childhood, or a relationship issue, or a fear or trauma that they went through. But it's not only that, like, people can get clarity from their soul about where they're at in their life and moving forward into their path. A lot of people come to connect with their soul purpose.
Last summer, I was getting an Akashic record reading, more or less, and the woman connected in with the soul, a very old part of me, and she started looking at it, and she says, there's millions and millions of bits of information coming from the body going back.
Yeah, well,
From every cell of the body was sending information
has
back.
memory, yes.
And I asked, well, I didn't ask. I asked later of somebody that was channeling. I said, where was it sending it back to? And they said the soul.
The soul. Well, I've certified in Akashic record readings, and it's a little bit. It's very much, but they're both accessing the soul. But what I feel is more empowering about the soul entrainment is that you're connecting to your soul. In Akashic record reading, another person is connecting to your soul records and relaying that information. When you connect with your soul and you get the information and you do your own healing, you realize you have that power and you can move forward in that power.
And you're using their breath, to get them to that point?
No, this is through hypnosis, through a deep relaxation process, and using that same connection to bring the star as the energy of your soul and expand it in you. So it's different. You use the breath, and people have to breathe, and many times the breath comes into the process, because you'd be surprised how many people hold their breath when
Yeah, when
they
they
get
hold
into
it.
scared, or they get into an emotion or a memory that they have to process. But one of the techniques that I do, which is very powerful, is when people get emotional, because it's not uncommon when people get emotional. It's very healing to get emotional. I encourage people to access their emotions. But I use this balloon technique where I have people really, because of the power of breath work, I have them blow. I want you to imagine that I'm giving you balloons that aren't inflated yet. And I want you to blow that feeling of fear into the balloons. Take it out of you and put it in the balloons. Give it to your angels or guides. Give it to the sky, whatever works for you. And so they process and move through the emotions. That's what's so powerful about the work, to let it go and release it. So it's not stored and lodged in them anymore. But the soul helps them access what emotions are blocking them. What are they holding on to?
That's very important.
Where's the source of the upset? Or
You've done many people. Is there an underlying problem that most people seem to come up with?
Great question. I would say that some of the root issues with people are unworthiness, lack of self-love, not knowing their true potential, magnificence, their beingness.
Their whatness?
Their
Being.
beingness. They're a spirit in a body.
People
They
don't
forget
understand that. Okay.
They forget. So soul entrainment is a way for them to remember who they really, really are. But those are some of the root, and they ripple into relationship issues. They relate finances, all aspects of life.
Do people that they're a spirit in a temporary body?
Well, soul entrainment helps them access that feeling, that connection deeper, so
But do they
can
want to believe it?
Well,
it depends. That's usually what they come for.
Okay.
Yeah, they already believe there's a soul, usually when they come.
Most people are somewhat in touch with that by the time they get to me. So
You're a little more sophisticated than most people.
No, it's not.
I don't mean. I mean,
No,
your
it's not about-
approach, your technique is a little more sophisticated.
Think by the time people get to me, they've seen me speak in public, they've read one of my books, they've listened to one of my meditation CDs, they've seen me on Facebook, they've been to the website, so they get a feel. I feel people are guided to soul entrainment. So a lot of them, like I have on my website, createheaven.com, there's a whole hour teleseminar that people can listen to about the work. There's testimonials from people. So I just feel that they're ready when they get to the work. Or their soul knows they're ready. They might not know they're ready.
Now, during a session, is it possible for them to change their records during a session for the future?
Absolutely.
And that is possible.
And that's what's so powerful about it. When you work on a soul level, if you shift something from your past or even a past life, it ripples into the present, you're shifted in the present, and you're shifted in your future.
Okay, so it can change
Automatically.
I've got a question for you that's a personal question.
Okay.
When did they start telling you all the stuff you would be doing, and did you believe it at first?
You know, I may work differently than other spiritual teachers or guides. I always do something for myself and work it with myself and heal or enlighten myself before I share it with others. So how it's unfolded for me is like with the soul sessions, I was so excited about it. I found out that it brought so much to me that I wanted to share it. And that's how all my work is unfolded with the angels. The angels help me. I want others to experience. So for me, it wasn't like, you know, it was more, I was so inspired. I couldn't wait to share and help others through something that really helped me and worked with me. And same thing with the breath work with Louie and I. Both of us love it, benefit from it, and it's like we got to let people know about this.
So it's kind of like having the proof in the pudding before you give it to other people.
Absolutely. And that really builds integrity with myself and other people, because I walk the talk.
Yeah, you don't have to. Some people don't, but it makes
you
entirely
more
different
authentic.
experience. Yes, it's real.
Yes.
Yeah, what kind of intrigues me, you work with angels, you work with the soul, you work with other levels of stuff that we're not probably even talking about here. One time I was in a conversation with somebody on the other side, and they were saying that we're basically the same vibration as the angels. That the same root of it is all the same.
Absolutely.
We just go different
But we come into
courses.
these bodies, and it's at a deep vibration. You know, it's energetically, it changes who we are, and this is my belief. When we come in, there's a little something that's not quite perfect, that needs to be adjusted and balanced. Because if we came in like the angels, we wouldn't have anything to learn. We'd be totally connected. We'd know everything. There would be no evolving.
Well, the
Or no
angels are
karma.
still learning also. You've got the cherubs, and then you go all the way up to the master guys. Very different vibrations between the two levels of the spectrum.
Well, I believe there's always another expanded consciousness for all of creation to explore, expand in. So when you asked about, I consider that I work with the vibration of love. The angels are love, the soul is pure love, the angels are pure love, and so we can remember that we're pure love.
Okay.
So that's what I would say. I work with the vibration of love so we can remember that we are love
Well,
and loved.
my opinion on love is that the basic underlying vibration of God is the vibration that we call love.
Exactly. Yes, I agree with that.
And that we don't have too much to do with that, but other than, I don't know how to put this. It's like the shell within the shell within the shell, or the basket, so that we're dealing with this universe, and this might be one of the smaller shells, and then there's many levels outside of that
Yeah.
before we get to the.
But I think when we come
the
into
God
this
force.
body, I believe we are perfect.
You do.
Well, we're a perfect vibration of love, but we
Yes, that's
forget.
perfect.
We drop into forgetfulness, or yes, there are certain things that we come in to work through or work with that the angels don't need to do. They don't enter a body to do that.
No, and when they want an answer to something, they plug in, and either they get the answer, or it's not something they need to know.
The soul,
And they just accept that.
the soul
I
comes
don't.
in to experience, to feel, to connect, to create. That's what our soul comes into this body, because if we didn't have this body, I wouldn't be able to hug you.
No, I know.
Or I wouldn't be able to create a new idea into physical form. Or, I wouldn't be able to heal maybe a relationship in another past life that still needs completion. So our soul chooses a body, a tribe to journey through with, to experience.
And
Lessons and
I
experiences.
believe
Yeah.
to express love as best they can.
Absolutely.
But
And to expand in love.
Yeah, we're not supposed to be all this doingness.
well,
We're supposed to be beingness.
We are beings, yes. We
that's
forget
debatable.
that.
But Joe Pagana, I was at one of his lectures one time, and there was a group of people there, and there's a guy in a wheelchair, and he asked, how come I'm in a wheelchair? He was born that way. And Roberta, his channel, did her thing and said that back in Boston, a hedgehog, the big barrels, had broken loose and rolled across his legs and kind of killed him. So he came into this lifetime with that injury that he had to kind of he had the experience of it happening. Now he had to have the experience of working through that condition.
That past
Could
life
be.
memory.
So that's
Yeah, sometimes things like that happen, but some people come here volunteering to serve with a handicap.
yeah.
So
They
that's
want
an
to experience
experience.
that.
But what's so great, if you do a soul session, you could go in and ask your soul, why?
Yeah.
Why? And the soul will come through. You'll get to ask the soul, and the soul will deliver the wisdom, guidance, the healing that,
From a non-human point of view.
yes, from a higher
What is the
soul.
common theme for these sessions? Is it like for healing, for lessons, or is it just kind of all over the place?
That's why I love doing the work, because everybody has a life story, everybody has a life experience. Every session is different. And, we create different questions. I spend a half an hour with each client before a session is about an hour and a half. I spend a half hour really asking what's going on in your life. What questions do you have for your soul? And we go in with an intention. But the soul you have to be open. Sometimes it's not what we want or what we think. The soul knows exactly what we need to answer
most
and
need
to
to hear.
share in the guidance that you're requesting.
Yeah.
So you really have to be prepared to be open to
Yes,
get anything.
openness is a great way to go in it. I do believe you should think about your intentions. What questions do you have for your soul? But I believe, and on my website, one of my CDs is Spark the Light, which has 2 meditations. The first one is helping you go through a guided meditation to connect to the soul, to listen. And then the second one's about how you want to manifest with your soul. So if people are curious, buy the CD, experiment with it. That's how you can start.
When you say manifest with your soul, what does that particularly mean?
It means listening and asking your soul to guide you, to take the steering wheel of your life, not your ego, your soul. So how do you listen to that part of yourself? How do you discern what is my ego, what is my soul? That's a big part of the soul entrainment training, is teaching people how to listen to the difference between the soul and the ego. Because if you follow your ego is always going to tell you, well, not always, but it might tell you you're not good enough, you can't do what your heart wants you to do, and your soul's like, wait a minute, you are brilliant, talented, magnificent, you have capabilities. I mean, the ego voice is very different from the soul voice, and what's so wonderful in a session, people can hear their wise inner higher self voice.
Now, how do we get in touch with you to take either the course to be in soul entrainment?
Or get the CD.
Yeah, so you go to createheaven.com. There's a whole page on soul entrainment to listen, to read other people's testimonials. There's a whole hour that you can, I talk about everything about the soul entrainment and what to expect during a session, what can you work on during a session, and then the CD is on the product page with my books and CDs. And so, yeah, definitely.
Where do you work out of?
I do sessions via Skype and in my office in Pembroke. So I've worked with people all over the
Can you do the
world.
soul entrainment via
Yes,
Skype?
as long as I see the person.
You have to see the face.
Yes. Yeah, and then I have a soul entrainment training in August. The next one's in August at the National Guild of Hypnotists, and that's in Marlborough, Mass. That's on, I don't know the exact dates, August. Mid-August.
Then
It's on your website, right?
It's on my
the calendar?
website, yes.
Okay.
So, and I encourage people to sign up for the newsletter, because every so often I'll run a special on soul entrainment, or I'll do a teleseminar on soul entrainment. I do a lot of teleclasses, teleseminars.
That's
what
how
would
I
that
met
be
you.
shown on?
That's how you met me?
Yeah, we're online.
Oh, okay.
What would that be shown on? When
You
s-
listen either by phone or through the computer, the teleseminars.
Oh, okay, telephone.
Yes.
I thought you meant like an email type thing.
No.
No, it involves a computer and phone.
Yeah, it's easy.
For you.
Easy. No, it's easy for everybody.
He's very
It
challenged.
really is easy.
He's very
I
technically
guarantee you.
challenged.
Yeah. You press a button. You
Which
follow a
button?
link.
So there's plenty of availability for people to choose from
Yes,
for
yes.
the stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, and all sorts of wonderful, good training and stuff.
Yeah, you did it
Now-
in the Angel Messenger. You did
Yes, I did.
a session with it.
Yes. You don't do trainings online with
No,
with
in
this?
person right now.
Yes, you need to do this
Yes.
in person.
Sometimes I'll do.
Now, do they have to have hypnotherapy background,
No.
or it starts from scratch?
Yeah, no, they don't. I've had people that have hypnosis as a background. It can help, but I've had practitioners that are passionate about the work or have other holistic practices and they want to add it to their practice. So, they take it as well. I think, it's really, it's if you facilitate for those people that have taken the facilitation, you have the privilege of witnessing miracles. And you create a deeper connection and expansion of the soul and what's possible. There's infinite possibilities with the soul. But the soul is very simple. The soul speaks in the language of love. It's very simple. It's not complicated.
I have to ask, it's just because of some of the communications I get. I know the ego is all I, me, and, whatever. But when I get something from the divine, it's a you or we.
Yeah, yeah. It's very much as if you're being talked to as a loving child.
Have you had, I don't know, I guess I'm assuming when you have somebody do a session with you that you kind of remember them. Is there one of them that really jumps out at you that was like, shook all your basic beliefs, bizarre type, wow, is this really possible type mentality?
I think what I've been most surprised at is the amount of healing and transformation that can occur in one session. I think I've really been but if you're working
It affects people's personalities?
they feel like people often say, I'll never forget that session. Like something big happened in one session. A big transformation happened.
Just imagine letting go of a lump of fear of some sort and being able to live your life without
Or
that.
something you've held on for so long and could not let go of, and all of a sudden you're freed.
Let's say a forgiveness
Yeah,
that you need to give to
exactly.
someone, and you're finally free of it.
Or
What a
you didn't
blessing.
know why you were so afraid, and your soul showed you, and you healed it in the session, and then it's like, it's gone. Something that rippled into every aspect of your life.
So a lot of times we feel lighter as a result after the session.
That's the biggest expression that people say coming out of the session. I feel lighter.
Must be amazing to feel that.
You might have met her.
It's been amazing to witness it too.
There's a woman that she's like a world-class aura reader,
Yeah.
and she'd spent 3 days reading this guy's aura. And she says, by the time I was done, it was already changing at the beginning.
Yeah.
She found that highly frustrating.
Yeah.
I wanted to say thank you to our audience, and thank you to our co-hosts, Kathy Medeiros, Ken Demuris, and thank you so very much to our guest, Karen Paolino Coria.
Thank you, and thank you, Josie.
You're welcome. I'd love to say this at the end, because we're coming to the end of the show.
29th year we've been here.
We've been around a long time with divine guidance and messages. We only have a minute. What can you tell the audience about soul entrainment in 1 minute that they need to hear?
If you are longing to know more about the truth of who you are and your potential, then I would journey with your soul. Your soul knows everything about you, past, present, and future. Your soul will always lead you to your highest and greatest good. And I would encourage people to really explore their soul, because it is who they are, and to know that in an hour and a half session, miracles can happen.
Do